The ocean has a way of hiding its darkest stories. Far beneath the waves, where sunlight never reaches and the pressure is powerful enough to crush ordinary human lungs, a small mistake can become a death sentence in less than the blink of an eye. Most workplace accidents unfold over seconds or minutes, giving people at least a chance to react. This tragedy offered no such opportunity. It happened so quickly that the victims never had time to understand what was happening. When investigators later examined the scene, they struggled to describe what they found. The medical reports looked less like ordinary forensic documents and more like scientific case studies explaining what enormous pressure can do to the human body. The victims had not been attacked, poisoned, or trapped beneath collapsing machinery. Instead, they had become victims of one of nature's most unforgiving laws. A sudden and catastrophic change in pressure transformed healthy men into casualties almost instantly. This is the true story of the Byford Dolphin diving accident, one of the most devastating industrial disasters ever recorded. It remains a chilling reminder that in certain environments, the laws of physics are more dangerous than any weapon. To understand what happened, we have to travel back to the North Sea in the early 1980s. At that time, the North Sea was one of the busiest offshore oil-producing regions in the world. Massive drilling platforms stood above rough, freezing waters, extracting enormous amounts of oil from deep beneath the seabed. These steel giants operated around the clock, employing hundreds of workers who kept the industry running regardless of storms, darkness, or icy temperatures. Yet the most dangerous jobs were not performed on the decks of these platforms. The real challenge existed hundreds of feet below the surface. Deep beneath the waves, visibility was almost non-existent. The water was bitterly cold, and the pressure increased dramatically with every meter of depth. Ordinary scuba equipment could never support workers in these conditions. Instead, a specialized group of professionals known as saturation divers handled repairs, inspections, and maintenance on underwater pipelines and drilling equipment. Their work demanded extraordinary skill and immense courage. Unlike recreational divers, saturation divers could not simply descend, complete their task, and return to the surface. At such depths, the human body absorbs gases into its tissues. If a diver returned too quickly, those gases would expand inside the body, causing decompression sickness, commonly called the bends, which could be fatal. To overcome this problem, the industry developed a unique system. Rather than returning to normal atmospheric pressure after every dive, saturation divers lived inside specially designed hyperbaric chambers where the pressure matched the conditions deep underwater. They remained inside these pressurized living quarters for days or even weeks at a time. During each work shift, they traveled from the chamber to the seabed inside a sealed diving bell that maintained the same pressure throughout the journey. Only after completing an entire work rotation would they begin a carefully controlled decompression process, sometimes lasting several days, allowing their bodies to adjust safely back to normal pressure. Life inside these chambers was unlike anything experienced on land. The atmosphere itself felt heavy. Every movement reminded the divers that they were living in an artificial environment designed solely to keep them alive. Because nitrogen becomes dangerous under extreme pressure, the air they breathed consisted primarily of helium mixed with oxygen. Helium altered the sound of their voices, giving every conversation a high-pitched tone that often surprised anyone hearing it for the first time. Although the conditions were uncomfortable, experienced divers accepted them as part of the profession. Among those working aboard the Byford Dolphin platform were 4 seasoned divers: Edwin Coward, Roy Lucas, Björn Bergerson, and Truls Hellevik. They understood the dangers of deep-sea operations better than most people ever could. Their careers depended on following strict safety procedures, trusting their equipment, and relying on one another every single day. By all accounts, they were professionals. On the morning of November 5, 1983, their shift had ended. The men had returned safely from the underwater work site and were resting inside their pressurized chamber, waiting for routine operations to be completed before continuing their scheduled rotation. Nothing about the morning suggested that history was about to remember this day for all the wrong reasons. Outside the chamber, 2 support workers were performing what should have been an ordinary task. Their responsibility was to disconnect the diving bell from the living chamber after the divers had safely returned. It was a familiar procedure carried out countless times across offshore platforms around the world. Every step followed a carefully established sequence because the pressure inside the system was dramatically higher than the air outside. 1. Incorrect action could place everyone nearby in unimaginable danger. Still, routine has a way of making even hazardous jobs feel ordinary. After repeating the same procedure day after day, workers naturally become confident. Fatigue can dull concentration. Long shifts can make simple tasks seem automatic. By the early hours of the morning, when exhaustion begins affecting judgment, even experienced professionals may overlook details that normally receive their full attention. Whether it was human error, equipment malfunction, or a combination of both remains a subject of debate. What is certain is that somewhere during those routine operations, a single locking mechanism became the center of one of the worst accidents in offshore diving history. It was a relatively small component, just a piece of heavy metal designed to secure the connection between the pressurized chamber and the diving bell. No one standing nearby could have imagined that this ordinary mechanical part was only moments away from unleashing a force powerful enough to destroy lives almost instantly. The next few seconds would demonstrate that under extreme pressure, even the smallest mistake can trigger consequences beyond human comprehension.